You wake up in a city you once ruled. Now it's burning. Smoke chokes the sky. Ashes cover the ground. Your empire gone. The streets echo with silence. Not peace, but abandonment. You look down, chains. Not from anyone else. Chains you forged. From every excuse. Every moment you chose comfort over conquest. Every time you said, "I'll do it tomorrow." And through the smoke, he appears. Cracked marble. Cold eyes. A godlike silence. Marcus Aurelius. He doesn't comfort you. He doesn't explain. He judges you with truth. Because deep down, you know. You were built for more. You were built for war, not weakness. But you ran from pain. You chose dopamine over discipline. Pleasure over purpose. Noise over solitude. You didn't lose your edge. You gave it away. And now you stand in the ruins of your own life, waiting for a miracle. This is your miracle. Not soft, not safe, not easy. Brutal truth, stoic fire, Spartan discipline. You want to rebuild? Then listen. This is not motivation. This is war. And it starts now. Before we go further, this is your first test. Not everyone watching will finish this video. Most will tap out. Scroll. Escape back to comfort. But you're still here. That means something. Now prove it. Comment below. The truth that hit me hardest was, don't hide, don't lie, don't soften it. Own your demons. Put them in the open and face them like a warrior. And if you're done with weak advice, if you're done chasing validation, if you want raw, brutal wisdom that lights a fire in your soul, subscribe. This is not a channel. This is a battlefield. And every video is a weapon. Join the brotherhood. Join the rebellion. Why Marcus Aurelius would break you before he builds you. You were not born weak. Let that sink in. You weren't born to scroll your life away. You weren't born to beg for attention. You weren't born to drown in regret, lust, anxiety, or fear. But here you are, a shell of the man you were supposed to become, not because life broke you, but because you abandoned the war. Look around. The modern world is a padded cell. Comfort is sold like a drug. Distraction is handed out like candy. Pleasure is easier than discipline, and mediocrity is applauded like it's some kind of virtue. You're told to take it easy, to be kind to yourself, to follow your heart. But Marcus wouldn't say that. He'd say, don't waste time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. He wouldn't rub your back. He'd crush your ego, because what you think is kindness is actually killing you. Let's talk truth. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not broken. You're distracted. You're not lost. You're avoiding the mirror. That's the difference between you and the man you could be. The man Marcus Aurelius wrote for. The man who could stand through storms with steel in his soul. The man who doesn't need applause, closure, or motivation. Because real strength doesn't come from hype. It comes from silence. But silence is the one thing modern men run from. We chase noise. We need feedback. We can't sit still. We scroll when we're sad. We DM when we're lonely. We cry out to the world because we're afraid of confronting ourselves. Marcus would call that slavery. You are not free. Not if your emotions control you. Not if your phone owns your time. Not if your heartbreak dictates your future. Not if you need a woman's attention to feel like a man. That is weakness, and weakness spreads like a virus. It's infected your mornings. You wake up tired, not from work, but from emptiness. It's infected your body, sluggish, unfocused, soft. It's infected your mind, flooded with regret, what-ifs, and imaginary conversations. It's infected your future, because the man you are meant to become, you haven't even met him yet. You keep chasing dopamine. You keep telling yourself next week. You keep explaining your pain instead of conquering it. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you bury yourself a little deeper in that padded cell. But here's the Stoic truth. No one is coming to break you out. Not your parents, not your ex, not your therapist, not your favorite influencer, not your soulmate. You, only you. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire while battling plagues, betrayal, war, and personal tragedy. And still, he wrote. Still, he trained. Still, he reflected. Still, he ruled himself. You're not facing half of what he faced. Yet you've surrendered like a coward. Why? Because modern men have confused sensitivity with strength. We've replaced purpose with pleasure. We've traded mission for attention. We've buried our masculine edge under layers of guilt, shame, and overthinking. You keep telling yourself, I'll fix it tomorrow. But you won't. Because you've been saying that for years. Here's the truth you don't want to hear. You're dying. Every second, every minute, every hour wasted in weakness is an hour closer to the grave. You don't have time to waste. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself?" This video isn't a pep talk. It's a wake-up call. If you want comfort, go back to TikTok. If you want safety, go back to your excuses. If you want soft validation, go cry in another comment section. But if you're done being soft, if you're done being ruled by your feelings, if you're done letting heartbreak and weakness define you, then listen. This is where the path begins. Not the path to success, not the path to healing, the path to becoming a man of fire, the kind of man who doesn't beg, doesn't explain, doesn't collapse, the kind of man who trains in the dark and strikes in silence, the kind of man Marcus Aurelius would have trusted with war. But here's the catch. You can't fake this. You can't watch a few videos and call yourself disciplined. You can't quote Stoicism and still be ruled by lust, fear, and addiction. You can't wear the armor until you've earned the scars. This journey will strip you. It will crush you. It will expose every lie you've told yourself, because before you become a real man, you must bury the weak one inside you. And that's what this video is about. We're going into the fire. 7 brutal truths. 7 lessons Marcus Aurelius would throw in your face today. Not to destroy you, but to reveal you. He wouldn't whisper. He wouldn't sugarcoat. He'd command. Because real change doesn't start with comfort. It starts with confrontation. So confront yourself. This is not therapy. This is not motivation. This is war. And these 7 truths? They're your first weapons. Ready? Then stop flinching and listen. You keep waiting for the apology, for the right time, for the right mood, for motivation, for a sign, for someone to show up, lift you out of the pit, wipe the blood off your face, and hand you a new life. But here's the truth. No one is coming. Not your parents, not your friends, not your ex, not some savior in the form of a perfect opportunity or a magical morning where it all just clicks. You've been lied to by movies, by comfort, by your own soft thoughts whispering, it'll get better when... No, it won't. It gets better when you get bitter enough to fight. This world does not reward the passive. It does not pity the broken. It does not pause for your healing arc. It doesn't care if you cry yourself to sleep or drown in regret. It moves forward, with or without you. And every second you wait for help is another second you stay chained. Wake up. You're not a victim. You're not a lost boy in need of rescue. You are a man with a sword, but you've buried it beneath comfort. Marcus Aurelius wouldn't hug you. He'd hand you a mirror. He'd say, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And what's standing in your way is you, your excuses, your laziness, your belief that something outside of you will save you. Money, love, luck, even stoicism itself. But stoicism isn't a shield. It's a blade, and blades are only useful in the hands of those who are willing to fight. You think reading quotes is growth? You think posting about discipline is the same as living it? You think watching motivational videos makes you tough? Number, you're just performing. You've built a personality, not a character. You want the image of a man who fights without fighting. And deep down, you know it. Because in the quiet hours, when the phone is off and the lights are out, you feel it. The fear, the wasted time, the unearned strength, the reality that you've spent more time crafting a version of yourself online than building a real man in silence. That should shame you. Not into guilt, but into war. No one's coming. No woman is going to complete you. No friend is going to fix you. No right time is going to arrive. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You need rage. Cold, focused, emotionless rage at who you've allowed yourself to become. You've been soft for too long, comfortable, dull. You've forgotten the battlefield. You've forgotten the warrior within you. You've forgotten that you are not meant to be safe. You're meant to be dangerous in the right direction. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you kept a promise to yourself? Not a public one, not one for applause. One made in silence, a brutal vow whispered when no one was watching. Did you keep it, or did you flinch? Postpone, scroll instead. You are in the position you're in because you trained yourself to lose. That's right, trained. Every time you said, "I'll start Monday," you trained weakness. Every time you snoozed your alarm, you trained surrender. Every time you scrolled to escape your pain, you trained distraction. Every excuse, every compromise, every "I'll try," you carved a habit of losing. And habits are chains. Until you break them, you will stay a prisoner to yourself. Marcus Aurelius didn't win because of his bloodline. He won because of his mind line. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He buried children. He led an empire during a plague. He faced betrayal, illness, and death. But he never begged. He never whined. He never waited. He acted. He endured. He commanded. Can you say the same? The difference between who you are and who you want to be is a brutal truth. You haven't suffered enough to change. You say you want it, but you don't. You want the idea of it. You want the look of strength without the pain of building it. But until you suffer the consequences of your own softness, until you stare down your regrets with no one to blame but yourself, you will never rise. You have to hit the wall, bleed, crumble, break, and then decide, "I will not die here." That's when you begin. That's when the sword in your soul starts to glow again, not when life gets easier, but when you get harder. You think Marcus would tolerate your crying over a breakup? Your scrolling through reels at 2 a.m.? Your procrastination? Your "I don't feel motivated"? He'd look at you with fire in his eyes and say, "Stop hoping for a better life. Just build one." This isn't philosophy. It's warfare. Mental, emotional, spiritual. And you're losing. Daily. Because your standard is too low. You'll fight for comfort, but not for purpose. You'll bleed for love, but not for discipline. You'll chase attention, but not self-respect. That's why you suffer. Not because the world is unfair, but because you are unfair to yourself. You've allowed your greatness to rot. You've abandoned your mission. You've turned your pain into personality and wear it like a badge. But pain is not your identity. It's your initiation. It's the fire, the forge, the trial. Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to demand that you wake the hell up. So here it is. If you want to change your life, then burn the blueprint of the boy who keeps waiting. Bury the coward who hopes someone will save him. You don't need more information. You don't need another book. You don't need more sympathy. You need orders. You need structure. You need war. So write this in your mind like a law. If I want change, I must become the kind of man who commands it, not begs for it. That means wake up at 5, train until it hurts, read until it burns, work until it silences your excuses. Discipline your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You're not owed greatness. You're not owed peace. You're not owed anything. You earn it, in silence, through scars, without praise. No one's going to text you to get up. No one's going to rescue you from your mess. No one's going to heal you. You heal by doing, by facing the storm, by walking into the fire alone, and by choosing again and again and again to build, not beg. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've changed. Let them say you've become distant, silent, emotionless. Good. Because that's what happens when a man stops waiting. That's what happens when he reclaims his power. That's what happens when he walks out of the padded cell and steps onto the battlefield of his own life. Sword drawn, eyes forward, voice silent. No more tears, no more begging, no more hope for rescue. This is it. You, your mind, your pain, your purpose, your empire to rebuild. No one is coming, and that is the greatest gift the universe ever gave you. Now earn it. Comfort is a lie, a sweet, seductive lie, dressed in softness, convenience, and pleasure. It whispers, you deserve it. You've had a long day. Just one more scroll, one more episode, one more excuse. But here's what comfort doesn't tell you. It's killing you, not fast, not loud, but slowly, quietly, like a poison in your blood you've learned to live with. Comfort is the slowest form of suicide, and you're sipping it daily. The warm bed, the late wake-ups, the dopamine fixes, the junk food, the excuses, the I'll do it later mentality. You say you're tired, but what you really are is undisciplined. You say you're burned out, but what you really are is unfocused. You're not resting, you're rotting, and every time you choose what feels good over what makes you better, you're digging your own grave. Your comfort is your coffin. Marcus Aurelius didn't need comfort. He didn't need soft pillows and perfect mornings. He didn't need motivational quotes or playlists or supplements. He needed silence, solitude, and pain. Pain made him sharp. Suffering made him wise. Discipline made him strong. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. That was his command to himself. Not once. Every day. Now compare that to you. You open your eyes, and the first thing you grab is your phone. You've already lost before you've even stood up. You want greatness. Then why do you live like a slave to softness? The truth is simple and brutal. If you crave comfort, you will never earn respect. Not from others, not from yourself. Think about a lion in a cage, fed every day. No need to hunt, no challenge, no struggle, no fire. That lion loses its instincts. Its muscles shrink, its edge vanishes. It becomes a pet. That's you. You've been caged by convenience, domesticated by dopamine, neutered by Netflix. You think you're safe. But safety is not your natural state. You are built for war, built for hunger, built for pursuit, resistance, hardship. But you traded that design for ease. And now you wonder why you feel empty, because your soul is screaming, let me out, let me face the storm, let me walk alone, let me bleed, let me earn peace, not download it. You can't scroll your way to strength. You can't nap your way to purpose. You can't sedate your way to self-respect. You've tried that. It led you here, weak, distracted, ashamed, and disappointed. So here's the shift. Start doing what hurts again, not recklessly, but intentionally. Discomfort must become your new default, because the man who trains in pain becomes a man who does not flinch when it counts. You think taking a cold shower is too much? Try fighting for your life one day. You think a 5 a.m. wake-up is extreme? Try carrying a family when the world falls apart. You think emotional control is hard? Try leading men through betrayal, loss, and death, like Marcus Aurelius did. If you can't handle the heat of discipline, you'll collapse in the fire of life. Here's the truth. Comfort makes you soft. Soft men suffer the most. Soft men don't survive chaos. Soft men crumble under heartbreak. Soft men fall apart when plans fail. Soft men live in fear of judgment, of pain, of being alone. Why? Because they've never trained their minds. They've never forced their emotions to obey. They've never disciplined their days like a soldier sharpening his sword. You say you want to be unbreakable, then stop living like glass. Here's what you need to do. Start your mornings in silence. Move your body before the sun moves. Eat like your life depends on clarity, because it does. Cut the noise, the empty talk, the endless scrolling, the fake highs. Spend hours with your thoughts. Walk long distances alone. Sit in discomfort. Starve the impulses that own you, not once, daily, until the world no longer rattles you. Marcus wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." And your mind is infected, because your thoughts are built around ease. You don't think, what's necessary? You think, what's comfortable? That's a dangerous way to live, because comfort becomes your compass, and eventually it leads you to a grave labeled wasted potential. You weren't made for that grave. You were made for fire, but fire requires fuel. And in this age, pain is your fuel. Use it. Don't run from pain, chase it. Don't numb yourself, confront yourself. Don't complain, convert that suffering into stone. That's stoicism, not quotes, not Instagram captions, ruthless internal war. Ask yourself right now, what comforts are enslaving me? What rituals have I built around weakness? What am I avoiding because it's inconvenient, not impossible? And then start burning. Burn the soft habits. Burn the unnecessary rest. Burn the fear of judgment. Burn the addiction to dopamine. Burn the identity of nice guy. Chill dude. Just trying to figure it out. None of that builds legacies. None of that commands respect. None of that survives the storm. You want to know why strong men are rare? Because strong men are forged in silence. While others sleep in, they rise. While others comfort themselves with sugar, validation, and pornography, they starve. While others wait to be told what to do, they lead themselves. They don't look for hacks. They look for pressure, because pressure builds muscle, character, and kings. That's why they walk differently. That's why they speak differently. That's why when things fall apart, they rise. Comfort will never prepare you for war. It will only lull you into a coma. And when reality hits, you'll break. You'll reach for softness, for someone to fix it, for a way out. But strong men don't look for escape. They look for exposure. Exposure to discomfort, difficulty, and challenge. So they stay ready. Because the storm isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it comes, you won't have time to train. You'll only have what you've already built. So what are you building right now? Let me remind you of something painful. You will die. And how much of your life will you have spent scrolling, sleeping in, sitting on ideas you never acted on, wishing you had the discipline you never built? Let that guilt do its job. Let it sting. Let it sear your ego. Let it wake you up at night. Not to shame you, but to ignite you. You want to be unstoppable? Then stop protecting your weakness. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about violence against your softer self. It's about creating a life that forces you to level up. So restructure your environment. Wake up earlier than you want. Train harder than feels good. Read when your mind resists. Say no when your body craves yes. Walk when you want to scroll. Breathe when you want to react. Sacrifice pleasure for purpose. That's how lions wake up inside men. Here's a brutal exercise. List out the 5 most comfortable parts of your day. Now imagine cutting them for 30 days. How does it feel? Threatening? Terrifying? Good. That's the battle zone. That's where strength is born. You want to become someone you respect. Then you must go to war with a version of yourself that needs comfort like oxygen. That version of you dies in the cold, hard routines of the disciplined life. And from that grave rises the man you were always meant to become. So let the others stay soft. Let them chase balance, validation, and cheap comfort. Let them rot in warm beds, chasing fake highs and crying when life gets tough. You're not them. You're building something sacred. A mind that cannot be rattled. A body that refuses to be weak. A life that commands respect, even in silence. That life doesn't come from comfort. It comes from discipline. And discipline is not glamorous. It's brutal, unforgiving, ruthless, repetitive, unnoticed. But it carves you into something the world cannot ignore. So here's your new motto. Discomfort is my default. Say it until your body obeys. Say it until your emotions align. Say it until the man in the mirror nods in approval. You don't need rest. You need responsibility. You don't need motivation. You need mastery. You don't need permission. You need purpose. And if you ever forget why, look around at the ones trapped in comfort. Look into their eyes. See the dullness, the fear, the regret, and remind yourself that's the cost of a comfortable life. Now go earn a hard one, a real one, a warrior's one. You weren't born for pleasure. You were born for fire. Live like it. You love the word victim. You may not say it out loud. You may not even believe it consciously. But deep down, you wear it like armor. You blame your parents, your childhood, your breakup, your boss, your genes, your anxiety, your overthinking, your trauma. You've created an entire identity around being someone who just can't. But here's the truth you're avoiding. You're not a victim. You're undisciplined. Your pain isn't special. Your struggle isn't unique. What separates men is not their scars. It's what they do with them. You think Marcus Aurelius didn't suffer. He buried 8 children, led Rome through war and plague, was betrayed by those closest to him, and yet he didn't whine. He didn't post about it. He didn't create a pity party. He got up every single day and ruled an empire. That's discipline. That's what makes a man, not what you go through, what you build through it. You say you have no energy, no focus, no clarity, no drive, but that's not a symptom of your trauma. That's a symptom of a lack of order. Your emotions rule you. Your urges own you. Your thoughts are scattered like ashes in the wind. You live like a man without laws. No schedule, no self-control, no code, and a man without laws becomes a slave to chaos. Your weakness is not in your DNA, it's in your lack of discipline. You were never taught how to command yourself. So now you flinch at responsibility. You don't need therapy. You need structure. You don't need validation. You need a vow to master yourself no matter what. Discipline is not sexy. It's not viral. It doesn't feel good. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's war. Not against the world, but against the version of you that wants to stay weak. The victim version. He wakes up with you. He whispers, "Just sleep a little more." He says, "You've had a hard week." He tempts you. You deserve it. And every time you obey him, you feed him. You strengthen the very force that's killing your potential. You want freedom? Then stop feeding your enemy. Let's make something clear. You're not supposed to feel amazing every day. You're not supposed to be inspired all the time. You're not supposed to wake up excited. That's fantasy. That's propaganda sold by people who make money off your feelings. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up regardless, and that's what makes it powerful. Every time you act in defiance of your feelings, you become more than a man. You become a machine, stoic, focused, relentless. You stop waiting for the right time. You create time. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" You do it anyway. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I'm rising to do the work of a human being.' Not a victim. A human being with reason, strength, and mission. So what's your mission? To prove to everyone that you're still hurt? To find people who will validate your weakness? To blame the world forever? Or to become the kind of man who walks into his pain and builds an empire anyway? That's the difference. Victims explain. Warriors execute. You say, 'I have mental health problems.' Yes. But are you fueling them or fighting them? Are you feeding your anxiety with dopamine, distraction, and addiction? Are you feeding your depression with junk food, poor sleep, and self-pity? You're not weak because you struggle. You're weak because you've surrendered. There's a war happening inside your skull. Every hour. And the only question is, who's winning? The victim or the warrior? You think your life is hard? Good. It should be. That's how you grow. Discipline doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in resistance. You want to build a powerful body. You lift heavy. You want to build a powerful mind. You carry heavy thoughts. And you stay calm. Most men break under pressure. But the Stoic thrives under it because he's trained for it. You haven't trained. That's why you break. But that can change today. Not with motivation, with military-grade structure. Here's what you need to do. You need to kill the victim version of yourself. Not with anger, but with action. You need a strict schedule, a brutal checklist, a day built like a battlefield. Wake early, no snooze, no scrolling, no excuses. Train your body, cold exposure, high intensity. Sweat like your life depends on it, because it does. Eat clean, no sugar, no sedatives. Fuel your body like a soldier before battle. Discipline your mind. No gossip, no self-pity, no idle talk. Replace emotion with logic. Replace craving with action. Replace complaint with command. You must become the general of your own mind. Every thought, obey or be eliminated. You don't need balance. You need brutality. Why? Because you're at war. You're at war with every second that drags you away from purpose. You're at war with the part of you that wants to sleep, escape, scroll, and wait. This war is not metaphorical. It's real. And if you don't learn to win, you'll rot slowly in a life of mediocrity. You'll blame others. You'll get bitter. You'll settle. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you became everything you once feared, all because you didn't train your discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It's protection. It protects your mind from chaos. It protects your time from thieves. It protects your soul from erosion. Without discipline, you're just a man reacting to urges, to moods, to triggers, to people. But with discipline, you don't react. You respond, you command, you direct the storm. You become the calmest man in the room because you know exactly who you are and what must be done. And that kind of man, he becomes untouchable. Let's kill the myth of the broken man. You're not broken. You're undirected, unfocused, untrained. Your power is still there. It's just scattered between distractions, wasted on weak conversations, leaked out in excuses and doubt. You want your power back. Then discipline is the gatekeeper. No more waiting for inspiration, no more trying to heal by avoiding the hard things. The healing is in the hard things. Wake up, face the discomfort, do the work every day, without applause, without results, without needing to feel ready. Just do it. You want a code to live by? Here it is. I am not a victim. I am the architect of my mind. I build discipline daily. I command. I execute. I conquer. Say it. Write it. Live it. Every time you want to quit, say it. Every time your emotions pull you away, say it. Every time you hear that soft voice whispering, it's okay to take it easy. Kill it with your code. And when people ask you how you became so focused, so unshakable, so dangerous in silence, you tell them, I stopped playing the victim and I started playing by my own rules. That's stoicism. That's masculinity. That's power. She left, or maybe you left. Maybe she betrayed you. Maybe you weren't enough, or maybe you gave too much. Whatever the story, you're here now, alone, obsessed, checking her profile, rerunning conversations, reading between every line, trying to make sense of the collapse. And the truth? You're not heartbroken, you're hollow, because you didn't just lose her, you lost yourself in her. That's the real betrayal, not hers, yours. You handed your identity to someone else. You put your peace in her hands. You made her your home. And now you're homeless. This is the truth no one tells you. Love will break you if you worship it. You thought she was your answer, your rescue, your healing. You called it love. But love doesn't destroy you. Attachment does. Obsession does. Abandoning yourself does. You called her your light. But the moment she left, your world went dark. You gave her the switch to your soul. And now that she's gone, you're crawling through shadows, begging for someone to turn the light back on. This is not strength. This is not stoic. This is slavery. Marcus Aurelius would look at you and say, choose not to be harmed, and you won't be. And yet, you chose to be harmed, not because she hurt you, but because you built your identity on something you couldn't control. You made her your goddess. You worshipped her energy. You bowed to her attention. You sacrificed your time, your goals, your brothers, your purpose, for moments of dopamine disguised as love. You were not loving. You were addicted. And like all addicts, you paid the price. Withdrawal, delusion, emotional chaos, self-hate. You cry over someone who is not crying over you. You seek closure from someone who's already closed the door. You stalk memories instead of building new foundations. This is emotional suicide, and the only cure is to reclaim your throne. Let's be clear, love is not weakness. Real love requires strength. It requires clarity, boundary, patience, depth. But what you had wasn't love. It was escape. You used her to avoid yourself. You thought we would save you from me, but now you're forced to face the mirror, and you don't like what you see. Good. That's the beginning of power. She was a mirror, not a cure, a test, not a destination, a lesson, not a lifeline. And the lesson, do not kneel for love. Stand with it, or walk away. The moment you start orbiting around someone else's validation, you've already lost. You stopped being the sun. You became a satellite, circling someone who barely notices the pull of your gravity. You dimmed your own fire to keep her warm. You silenced your truth to keep her close. You swallowed your purpose to stay lovable. But a man without fire, truth, or purpose is not lovable. He's forgettable. And that's exactly how you feel now, isn't it? Forgotten. Here's what you need to understand. Love is a gift, not a god. You can share your heart, you can commit, you can give, but you never, ever surrender your self-respect. The moment your relationship starts costing you your edge, your discipline, your clarity, your mission, it is no longer love. It's emotional enslavement. Marcus wouldn't chase her. He wouldn't text a second time. He wouldn't beg. Because begging is beneath a man who knows who he is. This heartbreak you're drowning in, it's not a tragedy. It's your initiation. The pain is your instructor. The silence is your classroom. The loneliness is your training ground. You don't become strong by being loved. You become strong by losing it, and not losing yourself. Let her go. Not because she was wrong. Not because you hate her, but because you need you back. Ask yourself, who was I before I met her? Who did I become to keep her? And who must I now build in her absence? If that answer is, I don't know, then good. It's time to find out. Stop looking for her posts. Stop fantasizing about what if. Stop hoping for a text that will never come. You're not a child. You're not a lost boy waiting for mommy to say, you're enough. You are a man, and a man moves forward in silence. Cut contact, not to punish her, to protect you. You think you're staying connected, but really, you're staying chained. Every DM, every story view, every just checking in, it's a crack in the dam. And the longer you let it leak, the more your masculine foundation floods. Close the gates. Let her become a ghost, not with hate, but with power. Because the Stoic man understands, the only way to honor love lost is to become someone so powerful he no longer needs it. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming untouchable. So the next time you see her, or someone who reminds you of her, you don't flinch, you don't ache, you don't shrink, you nod, you walk, and you smile. Not with ego, but with peace. Because you finally understand. She was never yours to lose. She was a chapter, not the book. And your story is just getting started. You want to know what hurts more than heartbreak? Wasting your second chance. This pain you feel now, it's raw energy. You can burn it, or use it. Use it to train. Use it to build. Use it to read, write, lead, and command. Use it to reconnect with your brothers. Use it to forge your mission. Use it to become the man you abandoned while chasing her shadow. This isn't the end of love. It's the resurrection of you. Make a vow. I will never abandon myself again for anyone. Not for love, not for comfort, not for illusion, not for her. From now on, I lead in love. I don't chase. I give from strength. I don't bleed to impress. I share my time. I don't sacrifice my vision. I feel deeply, but I walk away silently if I must. Because that's what makes a man dangerous. Not his muscles, not his car, not his income, but his emotional control. The ability to love fully and walk away fully if that love violates his code. You are not heartbroken, you are awakening. What hurts now is not her absence. It's the weight of your own betrayal. You betrayed your purpose. You betrayed your standards. You betrayed your masculinity. Own it. Stand in that pain. Let it light your forge. Because the man who crawls out of heartbreak without bitterness, but with a sharpened edge, is unstoppable. And one day, when love comes again, and it will, you'll no longer beg for it. You'll evaluate it. You'll offer strength, not dependency. Power, not need. Presence, not performance. Because you'll finally understand. Love is not meant to complete you. It's meant to complement a man who is already whole. So let her go. Let the pain stay. Let it carve you and walk on. Not because you're over her, but because you're done being less than you could be. That is stoicism. That is healing. That is freedom. You are in a war, not a metaphorical war, not a poetic one, not a movie scene with background music and dramatic endings, a real one. You can't see the blood, you can't hear the bullets, but it's happening. Right now, inside your mind, inside your body, inside your life. And here's the problem. You forgot. You've been lulled into comfort, numbed by routine, drugged by dopamine. You forgot that you were built for resistance. and now you crumble at inconvenience. You forgot that your life is a battleground, and now you live like you're on vacation. But Marcus Aurelius didn't forget. He woke up every day knowing, you may not have time to read this again. You may not have time to live again. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. He was at war, and he stayed ready. What about you? You live like you have time, like your mornings don't matter, like your days are disposable, like your soul will wait. It won't. Every day you wake up without a mission, the enemy gains ground. Distraction, weakness, indecision, addiction, comfort. They're invading you, silently, patiently, strategically. And you've left the gates wide open because you stopped guarding your mind, you stopped sharpening your edge, you stopped remembering the truth. Life is war, and soft men die slowly. There is no peace. Only preparation. There is no break, only strategy. And if you don't rise with purpose, you'll be consumed by someone else's. They will use your time, use your energy, use your attention, and leave you wondering what happened to your life. You're being hunted by everything that wants to turn you into nothing. The war is not out there. It's here, in your decisions, your rituals, your weaknesses. The enemy is not the government, not society, not your ex. It's you. When you forget who you are, you forgot that your body is a weapon. You let it decay. You treat it like a pillow instead of a shield. You forgot that your mind is a fortress. You left it unguarded, letting garbage flood through your eyes and ears. You forgot that your soul is a sword. You dulled it with comfort, rusting in the darkness of your own potential. You forgot discipline. You forgot hunger. You forgot cold mornings and long nights and the kind of solitude that forges kings. And you wonder why you feel anxious, why you feel lost, why you feel weak. It's because your warrior has been asleep, while the world has been feasting on your softness. You were not born to be a bystander. You were born to command, to wake early, to move with force, to create, lead, protect, conquer. But now, you wait for permission, you seek approval, you beg for validation from people who have no idea who you could be. You post your pain, you seek applause, you pretend you're working on yourself while hiding from the work. That's not healing, that's not strength, that's distraction in disguise. You don't need more time, you don't need more support, you need to return to war. Let me remind you what war looks like. War is waking up when the bed calls your name. War is lifting heavy when your muscles scream. War is saying no when your cravings beg. War is writing when your mind wants to scroll. War is reading when the world wants you entertained. War is training when no one's watching. War is meditating in chaos. War is silence in the face of disrespect. War is walking away without explanation. War is holding your line. And if you can't do that, you will be ruled by men who can. You will be manipulated by your own feelings. You will be enslaved by technology. You will be used because life doesn't pity the passive. It devours them. You're not sad. You're undisciplined. You're not lost. You're unarmed. You're not broken. You're untrained. The problem isn't your emotions. The problem is that your emotions lead the mission, and emotions make terrible commanders. They flinch. They fear, they stall, but a warrior doesn't flinch. He feels fear and still moves forward. Because that's what real masculinity is, action in the face of emotion, not ignoring pain, not suppressing it, but using it, wielding it, directing it like fire through a forge. You want to get your edge back? Then do what warriors do. They prepare for the day like it's their last. They train like the enemy is watching. They live like their soul is on a timer. You're not here to survive. You're here to dominate. But domination requires obsession, clarity, ruthless self-awareness. And that doesn't come from scrolling, from soft words, from toxic positivity. It comes from pressure, from suffering, from stripping away the lies you've built around yourself. You've spent too long being domesticated. Now it's time to return to your primal form. the one who doesn't negotiate with weakness, the one who walks into storms with steel in his spine, the one who speaks less and builds more, the one who dies empty because he gave everything while alive. Marcus didn't just think about death. He trained with it. He reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. You ignore death. You treat it like a myth. You act like you have time. You don't. Your life is bleeding out, minute by minute, scroll by scroll, excuse by excuse. And unless you turn your life into a mission, you will die a man who never lived, a man who forgot he was at war. You want power? Then wake up with protocol. Your phone off, your voice silent, your intentions sharp. You rise early, not for motivation, but for dominance. You train not for aesthetics, but for endurance. You read not for entertainment, but for ammunition. You sit in silence not for peace, but for planning. You don't wait for mood, you act by code. Because mood is for civilians, and you are a soldier. So what now? You build a system, a war map, a disciplined framework that burns comfort to ash. Your life is now your battlefield. Every hour, a fight. Every choice, a bullet. Every word, a weapon. And your mission? To destroy the version of you who forgot, the one who let heartbreak drown him, the one who traded purpose for pleasure, the one who begged for peace before earning it. He dies today. Not with drama, not with screams, but with silence and execution. So here's your vow. I am at war. I will rise like it. I will move like it. I will train like it. I will suffer like it. I will lead like it. I will die knowing I fought for my soul every damn day. That is Stoicism. That is masculinity. That is freedom. Let them laugh. Let them scroll. Let them forget. You remember. You are at war. And now, you fight like it. Your emotions are liars. That voice in your head telling you to quit. It's lying. That sinking feeling telling you you're not good enough. Lying. That flash of anger convincing you to speak without control. Lying. That craving whispering you need comfort to survive. Lying. And yet you treat your emotions like gods. You bow to them. You serve them. You let them command your time, your energy, your relationships, your goals. But here's the truth. You are not your emotions. You are their master or their slave. Right now, most men are slaves. Slaves to anxiety, slaves to impulse, slaves to depression, slaves to lust, slaves to every fleeting feeling that rises like smoke and vanishes just as fast. They react, they complain, they break down, they overthink, they apologize for being intense, and then feel empty for being soft. Why? Because no one ever told them your emotions do not define you, your response to them does. Marcus Aurelius felt emotion. He wasn't numb. He lost children. He led armies. He watched Rome burn in places. He faced betrayal and suffering. And still he wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." You hear that? It doesn't have to upset you. It doesn't have to own you. It doesn't have to shake you. You have a choice. But most men never develop that muscle. They never build that pause. They never cultivate that stoic stillness. And so they live like emotional wind chimes, swaying in whatever direction the storm blows. You're angry? Good. Now master it. Don't explode, convert. Use that heat to train harder, build longer, act sharper. You're anxious? Good. Now master it. Don't spiral. Focus. Cut the noise. Move forward with precision. You're sad? Good. Now master it. Don't collapse. Reflect. Let the sadness clean you, not control you. You are not a victim of feeling. You're a general commanding emotion like a weapon. Most men carry their emotions like burdens. Strong men sharpen them into blades. Let's kill the myth. You don't have to feel better to take action. You don't have to be inspired to be disciplined. You don't need closure to walk away. You don't need motivation to get up early. You don't need confidence to move. All of that is nonsense. You act first, then the feelings follow. Waiting for the right emotion is how weak men lose years. It's how they never finish projects, never fix their bodies, never speak truth, never walk away, because they let the storm dictate the sword. But warriors don't wait for good weather. They march through it. Your emotions want you soft. They want you to scroll, to stay in bed, to skip the gym, to send the text, to explain yourself, to flinch, to react, to overthink, to hesitate. But you know what happens every time you listen. You lose power, not metaphorically. Actually, you leak presence, you leak masculinity, you leak spiritual energy. And with every emotional surrender, you become a version of yourself that you hate. You ever finish a day filled with indulgence and go, "That felt great"? Number. You hate it. You hate the binge, the excuses, the silence, the guilt. Because deep down, you know, the more you bow to emotion, the more you betray your mission. Let's break this down clearly. Emotion is not weakness. Emotion is raw material. It can fuel you or finish you. It can elevate or enslave. It can guide or mislead. That depends on one thing, your level of mastery. If your mind is undisciplined, emotion becomes chaos. Mood swings, breakdowns, destruction. But if your mind is trained, emotion becomes artillery. Fire in the right direction, fuel in the right engine, precision in the right moment. That's what Stoicism is. Not emotionless, not robotic, but emotionally elite. You want to be a warrior? Then train like one. And emotional training starts with this: the pause. Before you speak, pause. Before you react, pause. Before you send, pause. Before you spiral, pause. Before you believe what you feel, pause. That pause is power. It's the moment where you stop being a puppet and become a commander. You don't say, "I'm angry." You say, "Anger is present. I choose what to do with it." You don't say, "I'm broken." You say, "Sadness is here, but I'm still whole." You don't say, "I'm lost." You say, "Confusion exists, but I'm still moving." That's mastery. That's what makes you unbreakable. Most men will never get this. They will spend their lives ruled by women, by lust, by anger, by sadness, by mood. They'll call it being in touch with their feelings. They'll call it being real. They'll call it mental health. But it's not mental health, it's mental slavery. Health is discipline. Health is knowing your shadow and still walking forward. Health is emotion under control, not suppressed, not hidden, directed. Ask yourself, how many times have I let emotion ruin opportunity? How many mornings have I wasted because of how I felt? How many relationships did I damage because of impulse? How much money did I lose because I lacked composure? How much self-respect have I bled out? Because I trusted emotion more than reason. That's the cost, and it's too high. But there's a solution. It's hard, unforgiving, unpopular. It's called internal order. You must discipline your inner world. Wake up with breath work. Silence the noise. No phone, no dopamine, just stillness. Watch your mind like a hawk. Catch thoughts, track them, challenge them, journal. Write what you feel, then ask, is this true? Is this useful? Is this necessary? Emotions don't vanish in silence. They reveal themselves. And what you see, you can command. Then move. Move fast, move sharp, move early. Let action cleanse you. Let sweat purify the poison. Let ritual override feeling. You must build a life that makes emotion irrelevant. That sounds cold, but it's clarity. Because when your schedule is sacred, your impulses become inconvenient. You don't feel like it. Irrelevant. The calendar says train. The code says work. The mission says move. The warrior doesn't ask how he feels. He checks his orders and obeys. That's what makes him feared. That's what makes him respected. That's what makes him free. Here's your law. I am not my emotions. I am the fire that commands them. Say it again. I am not my emotions. I am the fire that commands them. You are the mountain, not the storm. You are the fire, not the smoke. You are the general, not the panic. You are the edge, not the noise. Let others drown in drama. Let others be pulled by waves. Let others crumble under pressure. You remain, still, clear, unshaken. That's the Stoic edge. That's masculine control. That's real power. You want peace? Then conquer chaos. You want strength? Then wield emotion. Don't worship it. You want clarity? Then strip away the lies your feelings keep feeding you. They are not your compass. Your values are. Your code is. Your actions are. And if you ever forget, if the pain comes rushing back, if the fear tightens its grip, don't run, don't numb, don't explain. Pause, breathe, lead. Because that's what men do. You're going to die. Not someday, not eventually. Soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in a year, maybe in 5, but it's coming. Fast, unannounced, and irreversible. And you're not ready. You live like you have time, like you're immortal, like you'll get around to your mission. Later never comes, because death doesn't negotiate. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of death every single day. He called it memento mori. Remember you must die. Not to be dark, not to be dramatic, but to wake himself up, to remind his soul, time is bleeding out. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. But you don't live like that. You waste mornings. You numb your pain. You chase meaningless pleasure. You scroll, you compare, you settle. As if the clock isn't counting down behind your back. You think death is far away. But it's close. Closer than you want to believe. And one day, your body will stop working. Your lungs will quit. Your heartbeat will go silent. Your name will be whispered for a week, and then forgotten. You'll leave behind a digital footprint, a few memories, some unread goals, and a life you almost lived. Because you thought you had time, but you don't. That's why you feel anxious, not because you're broken, but because your soul is screaming, "We are wasting our time. You're built for purpose." And you're giving it away, to apps, to women who don't care, to vices that numb you, to comfort that kills you, and still you think you'll fix it next week. You won't, you haven't, you're lying to yourself. The truth, every day you delay your discipline is a day closer to your death. Picture this, you're lying in a hospital bed. Machines are keeping you alive. You can't move, you can barely speak. And all you have is your thoughts. You don't think about parties. You don't think about followers. You don't think about money. You think about time. Time you wasted. Time you slept through. Time you feared rejection. Time you ignored your calling. And suddenly, it's too late. That's what death teaches you. But by then, you can't act on it. So here's your chance. Now, while your lungs still work, while your legs still move, while your mind is still sharp, wake up. If you lived like death was near, you would walk different, speak different, train different, love different, lead different. You wouldn't explain yourself. You wouldn't chase temporary people. You wouldn't trade time for dopamine. You'd move with urgency. You'd cut the noise. You'd finish what you start. You'd become unforgettable. But instead, you sleep in. You ghost your vision. You play games with your purpose, as if you're coming back. You're not. This is it. One chance, one life, one shot to make something that outlives you, and every second you waste is theft. You're stealing from the man you were meant to become. Think about that. There's a version of you in a parallel world, clear, disciplined, respected, feared in silence, loved with strength, focused with fire. He exists, but he's dying every day you choose laziness, because greatness isn't guaranteed. It's purchased with hours, with blood, with sacrifice, with urgency. Here's the problem. You think life is long. You think you'll live to 90. You think tomorrow is your safety net. But the graveyard is full of men who had plans. Men who said, I'll start when I'm ready. I'll fix it when things calm down. I'll build it after this phase. Now they're dust. What will they write on your tombstone? He almost started. He had potential. He was too busy explaining. Or will it say, he lived? He fought, he bled, and he left nothing undone. You can't cheat death, but you can cheat regret, and regret comes not from what you did, but from what you never had the courage to begin. You didn't say what needed to be said. You didn't walk away when you knew you should. You didn't build what your soul demanded. You didn't love who you wanted to become. You sat, you waited, you talked, and now it's over. That's the story of most men, but not you. Not if you decide right now to stop dying while you're still alive. So how do you live like you're dying? You remove the non-essential. Cut the people who drain you. Cut the habits that distract you. Cut the language of weakness. Cut the beliefs that keep you average. Cut the false self. You simplify, sharpen. Strip it down to what matters, who you are becoming, what you are building, what you are protecting, what you are leaving behind. You wake up with intensity, you walk with silence, you create with urgency, you fight with fire, you train like you've been chosen, because you have. You are not born to scroll into the grave, you are born to stand in it like a warrior and defy the fear. Most men are dead already. They just haven't stopped breathing yet. They've given up, sold their fire for comfort, traded their mind for noise. They exist, they function, but they don't live. They don't feel. They don't act. They don't build. They're ghosts. But the Stoic man, he wakes up on fire because he knows what's coming. He knows death is close, so he races it, not in fear, but in discipline. When you start thinking about death daily, you stop wasting time. You stop chasing people who don't care. You stop waiting to feel ready. You stop fearing failure. You stop saying yes to everything. You cut, focus, lock in, execute. And the result, you become the kind of man who doesn't age. He ascends. Because every year he sharpens. Every day he conquers. Every hour he bleeds for something greater. That's life. Not existence, but fire. Force, legacy. Marcus Aurelius died. Seneca died. Epictetus died. But their words didn't, their discipline didn't, their philosophy didn't. Because they didn't just write, they lived. And now it's your turn. You don't need to write books. You don't need to lead an empire. But you must lead your life like it matters. Because it does, and it's vanishing. Right now, second by second, you're dying. So live like it. Make your vow. I will live like a man who is about to die, because I am. I will speak with fire, move with focus, train with violence, love with strength, and build with urgency, until there's nothing left, until death comes and finds me standing. That's stoicism, that's honor, that's life. Now go earn it. You've heard the truths. 7 of them. Sharp, uncomfortable, real. They weren't designed to inspire you, they were designed to break you. Break the weak version of you, the one who scrolls, who waits, who hopes, who explains, who dreams, but never acts. Because that version, he's the reason you suffer, he's the reason you can't sleep at night, the reason you flinch in the mirror, and now you've buried him. So what's next? You rebuild, silently, ruthlessly, alone, if you must. Because that's where power is forged. Not in comfort, not in applause, in fire. You rebuild your mornings, you rebuild your word, you rebuild your mind, your habits, your frame. Not for likes, not for her, not for revenge, for you. for the man who refuses to rot in mediocrity. Because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs men of silence, men of steel, men who don't talk, they move. So move. No more comfort, no more weakness, no more delay. 7 truths, 1 life. Now earn it.